Hello, I'm with Sid, and I'd like to say a few unkind words about the NSA. Now, in the good old days, people would march down the street shouting, "Yankee go home, Yankee go home, Yankee go home," and they could spray paint it on the walls and everything. Well, this is completely irrelevant nowadays because, of course, Yankee in the form of the NSA is everywhere. Now, suppose the police wants to open my mail, or they want to tap my phone, or they want to search my house. Well, they need to go to a judge, and they need to show him facts which make it likely that I have broken a law. And so then they would get a warrant, and they could search me and my possessions. But the NSA observes no such restrictions, especially not for foreigners. And whether they really observe the restrictions for United States citizens, that is a matter of doubt. So, in other words, the NSA violates rights and it breaks laws. That is, the NSA is a criminal organization, nothing else. And the government of the United States that supports and finances the NSA is therefore the government of a rogue state. We have to be very clear about whom we're dealing with here. Now, some people think, oh God, everything is lost. From now on in, we're going to have to live under the observance, under the surveillance of Big Brother forever and ever. But this is really not true. There are many things that can be done to improve the situation, given the strong political will that is required. Now, one obvious possibility would be to try to persuade the United States to sign a treaty of mutual monitoring. That is to say, the Europeans get to monitor the NSA and the CIA and whatnot, and in exchange the Americans get to monitor our information organizations, our intelligence communities, our secret services. This would at least create something of a level playing field. Well, probably it will be impossible to obtain that kind of a treaty, but at least we should see it as the background for things that are more possible. Now, the member states have a right to protect themselves and protect their citizens. And this would imply that all the installations that are under the control of the government of the United States or of big American corporations should be placed in front of a very clear alternative. Either submit to monitoring to make sure that you're not spying, or else please close down and leave the country. At first, this might seem a little bit shocking, but remember, even if all the 28 embassies of the United States were closed down, there would be no loss. There's always video conferences. However, there is something even, well, more practical, more concrete than the issue of our rights being systematically violated. And that is that a negotiation is basically a game. The buyer goes in with a maximum price in mind, and the seller goes in with a minimum price in mind. And of course, they lie through their teeth. Both sides exaggerate their position. And then they make offers and counter-offers, and in this way they try to discover whether there is actually a price between the minimum and the maximum, and whether the transaction will take place. Now, the NSA has simply destroyed this possibility, the possibility of the United States government negotiating, bargaining, or whatever with other governments. Why? Because they have basically given that government the power of telepathy. That is to say, it's like a seller who knows exactly what the maximum price of the buyer is. And so he will manipulate the negotiation and get exactly that maximum price, and not a penny less. And that, of course, is no longer a real negotiation. Under those circumstances, it would be irresponsible to negotiate further on the transatlantic free trade agreement. And we have to basically take a very harsh attitude here. You know, in a criminal trial, there's the presumption of innocence. But unfortunately, we haven't got Barack Obama or any of his spies in court somewhere. If we ever do, obviously we have to apply the presumption of innocence. No, this would be suicide, and it would be really irrelevant to apply that idea to our situation with the NSA. We have to look at it more like a skeptical scientist looking at a hypothesis. And the hypothesis is, of course, that the NSA and Obama are saying, oh, it's all okay, it's all okay, it's all just about terrorism. Well, the answer is, it's for them to prove it. It's just the opposite of being in court. They have to prove that it is that way. And they can't. They can't. It's quite impossible for them to do that. So where that leaves us is, among other things, all IT products being imported into the European Union need to be checked to see whether there is a transparently organized, openly done process of certification that guarantees that there are no trapdoors, either in the hardware or the software. If the would-be exporter can prove that, we import that product. If not, we ban it from our market. Now, it is true that this will lead to an IT trade war with the United States. It's almost certain that this will happen, and we are likely to win it. We are likely to win it. Remember, things like radio, television, the digital computer, the mobile phone, they were all invented here in old, conservative, sleepy Europe. So we really don't need Silicon Valley. We can invent our own products and produce our own services here. And we will be at a huge advantage on the world market if we can offer things that are honestly certified to be free of United States spyware. The whole world will buy our stuff, and at the end of this trade war with the United States, we will have millions more of high-quality jobs, and we will have a huge market share where IT is concerned. So really, we can defend our rights, we can defend our freedom,